So look at this guy. He thinks he's pretty sweet, right? You can see like the baggy shorts, the chain, the backwards hat. He's pretty much on top of the world. Look at him again. He may look like he's on top of the world, but what you don't see is that he's struggling with a heroin addiction. This is a picture of my brother from 2010 when he was a senior in high school. I remember when he stole my babysitting money to pay for his addiction. I remember watching him go through withdrawal when he tried to quit. More than anything, I remember finding out that he would be going to prison for 4 years because he robbed a bank to pay back all that he owed. I remember finding out that he turned himself in because he didn't see another way to get clean. Clay's story, like many others, tells us that addiction isn't a choice made over and over. It's a disease that starts with a choice. Also, like many others, rehab didn't help. We know from science that addiction changes the chemistry of our brains, but the US doesn't treat addiction as a disease. In order to save money and our citizens, there needs to be a shift from prison time to rehabilitation for people with addictions. A common misconception is that addiction is a choice, but it's not. Addiction alters our brains. First, we have something called the basal ganglia. For simplicity's sake, we'll call it the reward circuit. It's right there. The National Institute on Drug Abuse, in their 2018 article, Drugs, Brains, and Behavior, The Science of Addiction, tells us that drugs pretty much throw this circuit into overdrive. A flood of dopamine makes many things, including drugs, pleasurable for this part of the brain. This leads to a desire to repeat the behavior. The NIDA also says in their 2018 article, Understanding Drug Use and Addiction, that repeating behaviors leads to a tolerance for the drug. This means it requires more of the drug to get high, and it becomes hard to feel pleasure from anything besides the drug. We also have something called the extended amygdala, which is over there. Sorry, there's no easier term for that one. The extended amygdala plays a part in the negative emotions you feel. So, say you're giving a speech in class, and you feel anxious and uneasy. You can thank the extended amygdala for that. Frustration, anxiety, and unease are also a part of drug withdrawal. This, paired with physical symptoms, is often what leads people back to the drug, even when they desperately want to stop. The NIDA points out that this part of the brain actually becomes more sensitive with drug use. Using drugs becomes more of a way to relieve discomfort as opposed to getting high. So, if addiction is a disease, how do we treat it? Well, I can tell you how we treat it now, or at least how we did in 2010. It looks a lot like Clay's treatment plan. Casa Columbia reports in their 2010 research, Behind Bars 2, Substance Abuse in America's Prison Population, that out of the 2.3 million inmates in the prison system, 1.5 million of them met the DSM criteria for addiction or substance abuse. I was shocked to find out that only 11% of these inmates received treatment during incarceration. Casa Columbia states that in 2005, $74 billion was spent by government